We're here at the Karate Training Center and we're talking about sport karate. And we've been talking about footwork drills and setups, and now we're going to talk about, this is kind of an intermediate level concept. I want you to get started at that point in your training. If you're already a black belt and you're not doing this, this may be something that you can add to your knowledge and your skill base. It's a little thing, but it really helps you set up your body position so you can score more. Now, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about where do you physically position yourself at the beginning of the fight. John Eddie, take a fighting stance facing the camera on the blue and green line. I would be willing to bet that almost everybody is taught right off the bat, because we're teaching a skill in a sport here, that you line up right straight across from your partner. Now, what does that automatically do? If I line up down that fighting line, okay, straight on with my partner, it automatically puts me in line with his front kick, his side kick, his roundhouse kick. He's coming at me in an advantaged or an equally advantaged position. Can we all agree on that? That's where most people start off with. How can you give yourself a little bit of an advantage? Well, let's talk about your position when you get ready to line up. The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to offset yourself at an angle. Whether this is the very first engagement and the judge hasn't said fight yet, or you've already done an encounter and you walk back to the line, when you come back to the line, don't line up on this line right down that fighting line. I want you to either line up to the inside or the outside of that. What do I mean? Remember we talked about the hidden step? If I line up at a little bit of an angle, I give myself a little bit of distance and I automatically create an angle that my opponent has to come at. Okay, so John Eddie and I, we've just come back to the fighting line. Judge says, all right, get ready. I've already shifted subtly before the judge says go, to create a little bit of an angle so that I can read what my opponent's going to do. Watch his body shifting. If he shifts his weight off of that, watch his front shoulder. If he shifts his weight forward, what's it mean? It means he's coming at you with a hand technique because he can't shift off that kick. If he shifts his shoulders back, what's chances are? We're going to see a kick coming at us. So in my shifting off of that line right there, I'm watching his body, I'm watching his shoulders, I'm reading right off the bat, I'm seeing the shoulder come forward, I've created distance and an angle right off. All right, what about the other direction? If the judges say, all right, back on the fighting line, and you move over here, the first thing you do is cross step, and what do? Just a little subtle shift, but now I'm on the outside, I'm behind my opponent. Side kick, he's got to come at an angle. Every one of those things is going to give you an advantage. That's just a little subtle tip, but what I'm suggesting is, don't always line up right down that standardized fighting line when you go out there to spar. If you learn how to shift off just a little bit, you're going to give yourself an advantage in distance and angle.